May 3rd, 2007, Praia da Luz, Portugal. A picturesque resort town where families come to escape, relax, and create memories. For the McCann family, it was the perfect end to a perfect holiday. But in the quiet of a holiday apartment, a perfect dream was about to become a living nightmare. Kate and Gerry McCann, both successful doctors from Leicestershire, England, were on a week-long holiday with their 3 children. Madeleine, a bright and bubbly 3-year-old, was the center of their world. They were staying at the Ocean Club Resort with a group of friends who would later become known as the Tapas 7. Every evening, the adults would dine at the resort's tapas restaurant, just a short walk from their apartments, while the children slept. They had a system, a routine of checking on the children every half hour. On the evening of May 3rd, the routine was no different. The McCanns and their friends were enjoying the final days of their holiday. They had no reason to believe anything was wrong. At 10 p.m., it was Kate's turn to check on the children. She walked the familiar path back to the apartment. But as she entered the children's bedroom, she was met with a chilling sight. The window, which had been closed when Gerry had checked earlier, was now wide open. Madeleine was gone. A frantic search began immediately. The McCanns and their friends scoured the resort, their calls for Madeleine echoing into the night. The local police were called, but the scene was not immediately secured. The resort became a hub of activity, with staff and guests joining the search. The first critical hours of the investigation were marked by confusion and a lack of coordination. The disappearance of a British child in a foreign country was a major news story. The media descended on Praia da Luz, turning a family's private tragedy into a public spectacle. The McCanns, in their desperation, made emotional appeals for their daughter's return. The Portuguese police investigation was under immense pressure. They initially focused on the theory of abduction, and their first official suspect, or arguido, was a local man named Robert Murat. He lived near the resort and had drawn attention to himself by acting as an unofficial translator for the police. However, no evidence was found to link him to the crime. Then, in a shocking twist, the investigation turned on Kate and Gerry McCann themselves. In September 2007, for months after Madeleine's disappearance, the Portuguese police named them as official suspects. The theory was that Madeleine had died in an accident in the apartment and that her parents had hidden her body. The McCanns vehemently denied these accusations. For nearly a year, they lived under a cloud of suspicion. In July 2008, their arguido status was lifted due to a lack of evidence. The Portuguese police archived the case. The years that followed were filled with false leads, dead ends, and public speculation. The McCanns never gave up hope. In 2011, their persistence paid off. London's Metropolitan Police launched its own investigation, Operation Grange. In 2020, there was a major breakthrough. German police announced that they had a new prime suspect, a convicted German sex offender named Christian Brückner, who was living in the Algarve at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. Phone records placed him in Praia da Luz on the night she vanished. Christian Brückner has been investigated extensively, but he has never been charged in connection with Madeleine's disappearance. German prosecutors have stated that they believe Madeleine is no longer alive, but without a body, the case against Brückner remains circumstantial. More than a decade and a half later, the case of the missing 3-year-old from apartment 5A continues to be one of the most compelling and heartbreaking mysteries of our time. It is a story of a family's unimaginable loss, a global search that has never ended, and the enduring hope of finding answers. What happened to Madeleine McCann on that May night in 2007? Was it a planned abduction? A burglary gone wrong? The world still waits for an answer. The search for Madeleine continues.